Did you know? The Mind's Journal. Eating chocolate while studying helps the brain retain new information, and it is linked to higher test scores. Did you know? Firstborn children tend to have a higher IQ than their siblings. Did you know? This rock formation that resembles a snake head and scaled body, Naka Cave in Thailand. Did you know? This is Victoria crowned pigeon, the largest and the most beautiful pigeon. Dolphins, whales and apes are the only animals, other than humans, known to commit suicide. Did you know? 1 in a trillion million photograph, a photographer caught a bird that caught a shark that caught a fish. Did you know? Dogs can see sadness in humans and often attempt to make their owners happy by cuddling. In 2015, an 18-year-old man in Texas chose to commit suicide by snakebite. Sitting in his car, he allowed his pet cobra to bite him multiple times on each arm. He was found dead from cardiac arrest. The snake had escaped the car and was later found on a nearby road. Did you know? Black rose, an extremely rare flower that is grown naturally only in the village of Halfeti in Turkey. Women who wear more masculine clothing to interviews are more likely to get hired and are seen as better leaders. Did you know? Una Chaplin WHO played Robb Stark's wife in Game of Thrones as Charlie Chaplin's granddaughter. Did you know? To increase sales, some clothing stores use mirror with curved glass that make people look about 10 pounds thinner. An English professor wrote the words, "A woman without her man is nothing," on the chalkboard and asked the students to punctuate it correctly. All the males in the class wrote, "A woman, without her man, is nothing." All the females in the class wrote, "A woman, without her, man is nothing." Punctuation is powerful. Artist Marta Manoogian creates giant replica of the Parthenon from 100,000 banned books. The offspring of identical twins are legally cousins but genetically siblings. Did you know? TM. Greyhounds are universal blood donors. Most greyhounds have a blood type that can be given to almost any other breed of dog on the planet. Once again, The Simpsons have successfully predicted another event, the White House blackout, which went dark for the first time just the other night. Robert Downey Jr. thanked Burger King for getting him off drugs. In 2003, with a car full of drugs, he had a burger that was so disgusting it made him rethink his life and dump the drugs in the ocean. An orca, killer whale, can put a shark to sleep by turning it over on its back. The orca then drowns the shark, only to eat the liver and the tongue. Halloween costumes from the 30s. Australian comedian Hamish Blake entered the 2011 Mr. New York State bodybuilding competition under the heavyweight category as a joke. As it turned out, he was the only one to participate as a heavyweight contender in the competition, and ended up winning the title of Mr. New York State 2011 in the heavyweight division. The Mummy had a hazardous production. The cast and crew had a special drink to prevent dehydration. Many crew members had to be airlifted out after snake and spider bites. The production took out kidnapping insurance on. The cast and Brendan Fraser almost died filming the scene where he's hanged. This is the long room in the library of Trinity College in Dublin. It's 300 years old, 213 feet long, and has over 200,000 books. Stucky, a mummified hunting dog stuck inside a hollow tree for 20 years while chasing an animal. Before the 1930s, pink was considered a boy's color and blue a girl's color. London Company replants your Xmas tree each year and returns that same tree the next season. When it hits 7 feet it retires and gets planted in a forest. During World War II, soldiers were known to take precious family photos and put them under clear grips on their 1911 pistols. They were called sweetheart grips. Do you know? Forcing yourself to forget something only causes the brain to think about it even more. Do you know? Most people aren't actually antisocial. They choose to be alone because they hate spending time with stupid people. Do you know? At least once a day your immune system destroys a cell that would have become cancer if it lived. Do you know? Studies have found that video games are more effective at battling depression than therapy. Do you know? Ice cream actually makes your body warmer because of its fat content. Do you know? A 390-year-old bonsai tree survived the bombing of Hiroshima. Later, the tree was gifted to the U.S. and it still lives in Washington, D.C. Do you know? An elephant's trunk contains over 4,000 muscles. The entire human body has fewer than 85. Do you know? Pluto didn't even complete one revolution around the Sun between its discovery and its declassification as a planet. Do you know? You would have to do 250,000 crunches to burn 1 pound of body fat. Do you know? When a male penguin falls in love with female penguin, he searches the entire beach to find the perfect pebble to present her. Do you know? When our brains are low on glucose, we're more likely to feel angry and hungry at the same time. Hangry, because it's harder to control our emotions. Do you know? Japanese researchers have successfully developed a device that will be able to literally play back your dreams in video sequence. Do you know? Having negative friends is linked to depression, lowered self-esteem, insomnia and anxiety. Positive friends promote good overall health. Do you know? Home Alone is the highest-grossing comedy film of all time. Do you know? 75% of women ask questions in which they already know the answer to. This is why it's best to simply tell her the truth. Do you know? Shy people usually end up being some of the coolest people you know after you start talking to them. Do you know? 5 to 10% of internet users are actually unable to control how much time they spend online because of psychological addiction. Do you know? There's no scientific evidence that shows sitting too close to the TV is bad for your eyes. Do you know? Psychologists have found that sending and receiving text messages can actually boost your mood when you're feeling lonely. Do you know? The custom of putting candles on cakes dates back to the ancient Greeks. WHO believed the smoke carried their thoughts up to the gods. Do you know? Human babies are 75% water at birth, a slightly higher water content than bananas and slightly less than fresh potatoes. Do you know? Elephants make friends, bury their dead, travel for funerals, shed tears when they are sad, speak to each other, and show extreme intelligence.